Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I write crime novels. I've written 2, I'm working on my 3rd. I'm gonna get them all published at some point here. It's just expensive to go through editing. I'm getting another book edited currently. I like to do a lot of research about criminal activity, criminal organizations. I've lived my own life involved with some of that stuff. I've talked about several other criminal organizations and kind of profiled them, talked about their rules and who they are. We've done the Russian Mafia, we've done the Italians, who else do we do? The Chinese triads, I think we did those too. Let's talk about the Yakuza, the Japanese. The Yakuza are pretty badass. You know, the Yakuza are the ones with the full body tattoos. You've seen people sleeved up. You guys all probably have full sleeves. Fucking everybody has tattoos nowadays. It's ridiculous. That full sleeve shit that you guys are doing, maybe you're getting pictures of skulls and whatever, but that originally was the Yakuza. That was them. And they would get it, you know, so you couldn't see it anywhere. They'd take their shirts off, or they go to the bathhouse, and these guys be around each other all covered with that shit. They go into prison or wherever, and they're covered with these tattoos. They have a structure that's just like any other kind of organization, and I have it pulled up here with the chart. Their family boss is called the Oyabun. Let me show you the structure here. Can you see that? You can see that. And then the second tier, we have administration, psycho-common. They have the first lieutenant, Wakagashira, that's the first lieutenant. And then the second lieutenant. It's weird how the first and second lieutenant both are on the same tier. You know, you would think that the second lieutenant would be under the first lieutenant. The second lieutenant, they're calling it Sategashira. And then the next row down, you have the law advisor. And I'm not sure if that's the law advisor that advises them on legal stuff like a lawyer, or if that's someone who's enforcing the rules, the law of the Yakuza. And then they have the big brothers, Kyodai, and then under them you have the little brothers, Shate. Down at the bottom, underneath the law advisors, you have accountants. So they got lawyers and accountants. That's smart. They're down at the bottom. Let's go over some of the rules. There's rules to join this shit, and rules you have to obey. You know, the Yakuza have been around since like the 1700s. They're mainly in Japan, Japanese thing, in the cities, running all the rackets, right? It's real big over there. They have magazines that are like Yakuza magazines you could pick up from magazine stands and kind of read about articles about these guys. They've made heroes out of some of them. They even have like, what are they, like comic book style, like Yakuza magazines, which I don't know if these comic books are actually telling real stories or if it's just fantasy, but it's a little different thing here. Now, they're not as violent over there. Japan, they're not really toting guns around. They have like a no-gun society in Japan. But, I mean, these guys will show up to your door, you know, or to your business. You don't want to fuck around. These Yakuza guys will take care of business. They had, back in the old days, there may have been about 200,000 of these Yakuza guys. Now, nowadays, maybe they got 60,000. That's a lot. They got one family, I forget the name of them, they're broken into like mob families, and the biggest family, which I can't remember the name, they have like 30,000 members. So the biggest family in the Yakuza is one of the largest organized crime groups, syndicates in the world. 30,000 people is a lot of people to have under one umbrella. So the first rule is treat your oyabun with respect. The oyabun is the leader. So in the Yakuza gangs, the structure is the oyabun kabun. That's what the full name is. Hope you like my Japanese. And you'd be foolish to disobey this guy, man. He is the boss of bosses. He says, what he says goes, and that's it. You know, he tells you to do something, you better fucking do it. Oyabun refers to the father, and kabun to his loyal son. So, he's calling shots, and if you fuck up, like if you make a mistake, which happens, I guess, then in order to get redemption, it says for such an act, you have to amputate part of your body, usually a little finger, and you'll often see guys with little missing pieces of their fingers. I knew a guy who had a missing finger just like that, but he got it shot off in a shootout with the police after he robbed a bank. He got away, and he got caught years later. The motherfucker got away. Just got his finger shot off, got away with the money and, you know, most of his hand. Years later, he robbed another bank. And they had him on video and they were like, that's the guy. He should have been wearing a glove, or I don't know. So the first rule in the Yakuza is treat the leader, the boss, with respect. And if you fuck up, you gotta cut off your finger. Number 2, don't steal from the everyday man. These guys are kind of romanticized as like Robin Hood kind of figures, you know, robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. And maybe that happens in some areas, I don't know. Maybe on Thanksgiving they show up with a bunch of turkeys. I don't know if they celebrate Thanksgiving in Japan really, but something, Japanese Thanksgiving, do they got their own Thanksgiving? So you're not supposed to steal from regular people, which makes sense. They don't really have much to steal anyways. Rule number 3, don't disrupt the harmony of the gang or touch the partner of a fellow member. Now the Italians have a similar kind of thing. You know, you don't fuck with his girlfriend or his wife or anything like that. Bros before hoes, you know. Being in the Yakuza is part of a brotherhood. And once you don the hallmarks of a Japanese gangster's, tattoo from head to toe, and half a pinky gone, it's a ride or die situation. You gotta be down for your homies. And you don't wanna disrupt the organization in any way. Fucking with someone's woman will fuck things up. Number 4, never involve yourself with drugs. They say that in all these gangs, and all these gangs do it. They say that in the Italian gangs too, and they all do it. There's so much money in drugs. You're watching people making hundreds of thousands of dollars by just passing a bag from one guy to another, and it's just like, you're gonna not do that? These guys all do it. Now, I don't know if there's a big drug problem in Japan, and when they say never involve yourself with drugs, they might just mean don't get high off your own supply, which is definitely a good rule. Number 5, always act chivalrously. That's kind of a hard word to say, chivalrously. It says perhaps the most important rule for the Yakuza to follow, chivalry. Whether it was back in the 16th century or in 2017, it is to always act respectfully. Gangs have a long-standing reputation for being respectful to those who don't work against them, as well as giving back to those in need. So after the earthquakes in 1995 and in 2011 in Japan, the Yakuza reacted immediately to send food and aid and helicopters. These motherfuckers have helicopters. We never had helicopters. I mean, we had helicopters flying over us by the cops, but we didn't have our own. So they're pretty nice guys, apparently. Always act chivalrously. That's the Yakuza. Thanks for watching.